Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is T Hunter. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And for those who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. So in today's video, I wanted to discuss the difference between taking a break versus breaking up or breaking things off. I'm sorry. Disclaimer, my daughter is here. Clearly, you can hear her. Try to do some editing. We'll see if we can. So there's moments when she's quiet, and there's moments when she wants to join in the conversation. So, yeah. Excuse her. She means no harm. Okay. Back to the regularly scheduled program. There are definitely situations and there are behaviors and there are things in our lives that sometimes we have to take a break from. Like, for example, it's good to take a social media break. It's good to take a break from eating all of your favorite foods if you know that they're not the healthiest for you. So some type of detox or cleanse. And then there are things that it'll just be best and healthier for you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, even physically, if you just break off certain habits, break off certain relationships, break off certain patterns that you might be used to engaging in. No matter how hard it might seem, the greater good outweighs the difficulty of the process of letting go. So I know in my, the side effects of unhealthy friendships video, I of course focused on friendships. This time around, as far as the taking a break versus breaking up, this will focus more on, like, I guess, romantic relationships, whether you are in an exclusive relationship, whether you are dating to get an idea of what it is that you want versus what you don't want. And sadly, this can also apply to family members, but you can't really break up with family per se. So we'll just stick to the romantic relationships. Sometimes when we are in romantic relationships, we can engage in patterns that they can definitely drain us, and we need to take a break from them. So if you are the type that you enjoy talking to your partner on a daily basis, but say you're noticing it's affecting your work ethic, it's affecting how your performance at school, because maybe you're staying up really late on the phone with them, or you're texting all night, especially if you are not seeing eye to eye and you're getting into a lot of disagreements, that can definitely affect like your sleep cycle, which can ultimately affect how you're performing in the days after. So sometimes it means taking a break from talking every day. Sometimes it's just great to take a little bit of space, have some time, outline that, and be very specific as far as what this is going to look like. Are we talking every other day instead of every day? Or are we checking in with each other, maybe like via text versus having calls every night, so that this way we're both able to sleep, so that we're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for our jobs or school or whatever responsibilities we have the following day. Having those conversations can definitely eliminate some anxiety, frustration, and a lot of confusion. Just put everything out there on the table. Now, when it comes to breaking up completely, I would say some of the patterns that I noticed in my previous relationships prior to getting married that I had to break away from. I'm just gonna, list a few of them. Not so much in terms of priority, but more so as they come to me. So definitely, I would encourage those of you who are single, so not people who are married, there are more steps to mitigating these types of issues. If you're married, pray, seek counseling, read your word, talk to each other, talk to couples whose communication and relationships as far as their marriages that you admire and would one day aspire to look like. Of course, every marriage is different, but find a great example of a marriage and talk to those people and ask them, if possible, can they mentor, can they counsel you, so that you can learn like what habits have worked for them, what patterns have been better as far as their communication, things of that nature. Okay, I'm rambling, tangent, sorry about that. So I would say one behavior in particular that I noticed that would cause me to break off completely from a person would be definitely controlling behavior. I'm gonna give an example. So in one dating relationship that I was in, the individual decided that it would be a great idea to tell me we should be very private about our relationship. That might sound like a great idea, especially for married couples. But if you're a single individual, it can be very isolating for someone to tell you, do not talk to your family, do not talk to your friends about what goes on in our relationship. The reason why they attempted to set that limit was because perhaps they had insecurities that they did not want to come to light. And if I'm talking to family members, talking to friends, people who are good judges of character about what they are saying and what they are doing in our relationship, they could easily say to me, you know what, this really isn't a good look. This is borderline abuse. This is controlling behavior. This is manipulative. This is isolating. So if you stay in this relationship with this person, here are some, negative side effects that are going to come up because they're already trying to tell you who to and who not to talk to. Yeah, no good. Another behavior that should, lead to a breakup if you want to maintain your peace, maintain your health, would be if that person is very condescending, enjoys making fun of you. It's one thing to have, the harmless teasing, whether it be like a pet name you don't necessarily care for and they call you that like every now and then. But I'm talking about like the condescending and the teasing where it makes you question your intelligence. It makes you question your value in their life. It makes you question, is this even a relationship that I should still be in? Because I don't like the emotional and the headspace that I'm in when they engage in this behavior with me. So I would definitely say an example of this, ladies and gents, because both do it. If you're in a relationship or sometimes even in a friendship or you're dating, talking to someone who enjoys trying to take you down a notch. So let's say you're expressing your ideas, your thoughts on your profession or something that you're very passionate about. And they make it a habit to say, oh, you're doing too much, or it doesn't take all that, or, oh, you think you're so smart, or, oh, all right, here we go again with the passion projects. Just things of that nature that maybe they're not telling you explicitly like to shut up or they don't care, but they're communicating it in a very passive aggressive way, trying to take you down a peg, especially when they see that you're excited about something. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a friendship, definitely would not want to be in a marriage with someone who makes a very conscious effort to try to take me down a peg when they either don't agree with something I'm saying, or they're not interested in something that I'm saying, or they don't share like the same level of passion for something that I'm interested in. We are all different. We all have different interests. And I know that it's great to have some common interests, but it's also good to have your own identity. So if you're dating someone who makes a conscious effort to be condescending, to tease you mercilessly, even after you've asked them to stop, or someone who just tries to suck the wind out of your sails whenever you're expressing excitement about something, I would definitely consider, what steps do I need to take to break this off? Because it's going to shift your identity walking in your purpose if you're with someone who's constantly trying to chip away at that. Okay, so another one, let's think, what's a really good one that should lead to a breakup? Someone who wants to be in control of the flow of the relationship, to the point of you can't leave them. They have to be the ones to initiate the breakup if there's going to be one. I find it very confusing and very manipulative, actually. I was in a relationship where the individual would initiate conversations around taking a step back. Let's take a break. And I said, I'm not really with the on again, off again flow of a relationship. If we're going to be together, we're going to be together. If we are not going to date at all, like if we're getting to a point where we need to have a discussion around taking a step back, perhaps we should consider breaking all the way off. And they don't like the idea of you being in charge of those conversations, you initiating that. And once that relationship did finally end, I noticed a shift in that person's attitude towards me. I noticed a shift in their behavior. I noticed a shift in their conversation because I was the one that ultimately said, I don't want to take breaks. Either we're going to be together or I'm single and I'm back on the market. And once I said, this really isn't working out for me, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore, that's when like a whole nother personality came out. So be very mindful and be aware of people who, if it's their idea to end the relationship, everything's all good. But if you start initiating conversations about either taking a step back or breaking up and they become cruel, they become insensitive, yeah, just pay close attention to that. That's a red flag and should signal you to continue ease on down the yellow brick road of I'll break this off so I can maintain my peace. Let's see. Are there any others that I can think of? Oh, I know I talked about people who are condescending and teasing towards you. Be very thoughtful and be alert and vigilant if you are dating someone who has no problem making fun of your family, making fun of the people in your friend circle. No person is an island. And so your personality, how you move through this world has been constructed, first by God and then also by the people that you surround yourself with. So if you are a successful man or woman, you're a confident man or woman, you're a person of integrity, you are a people person, and the person that you're dating likes to take shots at your family. It could be something as simple as their appearance, or it could be something as major as trying to attack their character. If they're comfortable doing that in the dating stage, that's not going to get better should the two of you decide to get married. So yeah, be very, very careful about that, because while the Bible does say that the two become one, there's also a blending of families. Would you really want to bring someone around your family who talks trash about them behind their backs to you, of all people? Would you really want to bring your friends and expose them to someone who is cutting them down, saying all types of negative things about them? I know that I wouldn't, and ultimately I did not. Yeah. Let's see. I would say another reason to break away from someone would be if they try to control the day-to-day routine that you have or day-to-day habits. Now, it's one thing if, you're dating someone and they express a concern about your health, like, hey, I've noticed that you're short of breath, or I've noticed that, you're very lethargic. Let's have a discussion. Have you scheduled a doctor's appointment? When's the last time you went and saw your doctor? When's the last time you called them and told them you're noticing these symptoms? Maybe you're very sluggish, or if they're noticing something like that, that could be a major health concern. That's different. But if they're trying to control even the way that you eat, yeah, that's not going to get better when you get married. It's one thing if, you're doing a lifestyle change for health purposes, but if you decide that you want to go back to the way that you used to eat, back to the way that you used to, move and whatnot through life, they should not blow up on you for that. Yeah. Be aware of people who want to control your appearance. If they are trying to tell you how to wear your hair, and they're serious about it, yeah, watch that, because that could definitely lead to conversations, arguments, disagreements, where you'll think, what, this really isn't a good idea. Especially if, you're in the beginning stages and they're already trying to control what you look like, what you do, who you hang around, opportunities that you may get, because maybe they're insecure in themselves, so they're constantly trying to control you to fit you into this mold. Be very careful of that, because I would say that's a behavior that you will want to break away from, as opposed to taking a break or taking space away from. Yeah, for sure. Lastly, I think I will discuss someone who is very critical of you. So I know I talked about people who are condescending, or they tease you, or they try to make light of your passions. But someone who is very, very critical of even your character. So ladies, I don't know if you have ever, encountered this, but say you're in a relationship with a man who is He's one way with you in private, as far as, you know, like, oh yes, you're a good woman, yes, you're a great catch, you are marriage material. But then when other people say things like, oh, so when are you guys going to get married? And they say, oh, I'm gonna let the Lord lead me. Or, you know, every woman thinks she is a good catch. Yeah. Because either you're lying to me or you're lying to them. So if their thoughts about you being marriage material are not seamless and consistent, but they change up depending on who's in the picture, who they're talking to, or who's in their ear, yeah, that would definitely be a behavior that I would say you'll want to break away from. It is not going to get better when you get married, because they can do the same thing once you're married. If they do, and if you do decide to marry them. It's one thing for a person to change their minds based on experience, based on knowledge, so they're making an educated decision. Like, you know, I felt like this before I knew ABC, and now that I know ABC, my decision is going to change a bit, versus just, you know, some things that you know about a person and still you're behaving in such a way like they've changed when they've been consistent across the board. So if you know that the woman or the man that you're dating, they're loyal, they're family oriented, they're honest, you know, they're funny, they enjoy going out, or whatever those things are, if you know that they've been the same across the board, it can be pretty damaging to them over time if you keep behaving in such a way like something's wrong with them when you knew how they were from the start and they've been the same throughout your relationship, the entire course of it. Yeah. And be aware of that for sure. I know, lastly, I know that earlier I talked about watching people who are critical of your family and critical of your friend circle. I would say also be aware of people who are very critical of their own families and their friend circles and themselves. Because oftentimes we have a hard time esteeming others as better than ourselves, even though the Bible tells us to do that. Like, for no man to think he is better than this person, man or woman, to think that they're better than somebody else. But instead taking other people's feelings, taking other people's value into consideration. Like, no, they deserve to be respected. They deserve to be loved. They deserve loyalty just like I do. So if you are dating someone who, you know, you notice they're very critical of their family, they're like constantly like, you know, just throwing like these verbal jabs at them. They're very critical of their friends, you know, like they call them names. They're not supportive of their dreams. Every opportunity that they get, even if they say they're kidding or they type LOL in the text messages, like they say very mean-spirited things, be careful of that. Because chances are that's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. And so they project it onto other people. So if I have to be at level 0, I got to take you down to level -20 so that I can feel better about myself. I don't know why that is the way that it is, but for some people, that's how it is. So yeah, that would be something that you would want to break away from so that you can maintain your peace, maintain your physical, emotional, and mental health, as well as spiritual too. What I have noticed, not only with myself, but even, you know, on the account of others, if you stay in a relationship that is toxic, you stay in one that is not supportive, you remain in a relationship where a person is just behaving in a way that just makes you feel badly about yourself and makes you question how they feel about you and how they feel about the people that you love, you're not going to have any peace. It's going to disrupt your sleep. It's going to interfere with your physical health. Like, you know, men and women have, you know, sometimes they're losing their hair, you know, or they're noticing like, you know, breakouts with their skin, you know, all these different things. Like the stress of the toxicity will show up one way or another, whether it's showing up in your communication patterns or it's showing up in your mental health or it's showing up in your physical health. It's going to show up somewhere. That stress has to go somewhere. So yeah, I believe that is all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Definitely feel free to like this video, leave your feedback in the comments, and subscribe to my channel. I definitely appreciate you coming back and watching my content week after week. And last but not least, I am selling t-shirts. It is the Always Glowing Forever Growing campaign through Bonfire. I will put the link in the description below. So if you like the shirts, like the, I have two options. So there is premium unisex as well as the slimmer fitting ladies tee. So if you like the design, you like the colors, feel free to support your girl. I appreciate you. Well, that is all that I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.